Look at that shiny step well. This video is going to be about why my TC2000 is a little bit different from the other ones. This is an older model TC. It's a 1990, and you'll notice that the dash area here is very basic, and that's one of the reasons that the TC2000 was more economical than the All-American. The TC2000 emblem right there actually didn't come on this bus. It's from a newer bus, and I put it on here. So first off, I'm going to show you how to check the fluids and what's under the hood. Under the driver's seat is where we check the brake fluid. There's a little box right here. Go ahead and open it up. Pull the cap off. Look down in there. See, it's full of brake fluid, so that's good. Under the hood we have a standard Cummins 5.9 turbo diesel, and it's coupled to an Allison AT545 transmission. Over here, this is the injection pump. It's called a VE pump, and you'll notice that the injectors, or the injector lines, are arranged at a circular pattern. Come back here, here's the engine oil dipstick. Over here is a heater control valve. This shuts off coolant going back to the heaters. Here's the transmission fluid dipstick. Over here is where we check our power steering fluid. That's good. Over on the other side of the frame, this is where we check our washer fluid. This bus has a turbo that's mounted up relatively high, and that's why the hood is so tall on it. You notice that the lines from the turbo go straight over to the intake manifold, and this intake manifold is relatively big because it's actually an air-to-water cooler, and it uses coolant to cool the charge air. To check the coolant, we'll go outside. To check the radiator, just come up here to this little door, open it up, and there's a sight glass. But I can see fluid in there, so it's not really that low. No big deal. Some of the key differences between this TC and newer TCs is the fact that it doesn't have any opening doors in the front besides the radiator door there. The 91 TCs would actually have a big hood that went all the way across that would open up, and it stuck out farther. Another thing about this thing is the windshield is a little bit shorter on this one. They changed that in 91, and here's what you can do to prove it. See where the rub rail is and how far the windshield comes down? Well, let's see another TC. See, the windshield on this one is a little bit taller. It's a 96, and we'll be coming back to this bus. Another thing about my TC is that it has a side-mounted fuel tank rather than a rear-mounted fuel tank in between the frame rails. Alright, back to my switches. Go ahead and tilt the old steering wheel. This first switch here is for the mirror defrost. I added this pilot light on because it helps me to remember to turn them off. This one's for the driver dome. That's all three of those. I used to be just one, but I added the extra lights. This one is for the dome lights in the back. This one is for the clearance lamps. They're on their own circuit from the headlights and the tail lights. This one's for the strobe light. This is a strobe pilot light. This is the warning light start. This is the warning light master switch. If you go ahead and hit it, it'll activate the yellows. You can see that on the light monitor too. You go over here and open the door, and it activates the reds. Now I'll go ahead and turn that off. You can turn it off that way or just close the door. These switches are for the driver fans up top. Now these bottom 7 switches are all for heaters. This first one is for the defrost. This one is for the step well heater. This one is for the driver heater. These two here are for the under-seat heaters all the way in the back. And these last two are for the under-seat heaters midship bus. And of course we have our wiper wash. Over here is the gear shift. Since this is an older bus, the gear shift is over here on the left, which most buses will have it here on the right. I'm pretty sure they changed that in 91 and moved the gear shifter over here. Over here we have a cigarette lighter, so I can charge my cell phone. The headlight switch, there's our parking lamps, headlights. This is a throttle lock. We'll come back to that. The switch way down there actually changes your bright lights to your low lights and so forth. This is a fresh air vent for this side. Over there, there's the fresh air vent for the other side. Of course, the gas pedal, the brake pedal, the key. I think we know how that works. Hazard lights are right here. Just push them in and they'll come on. Pull the switch back out. Of course, your turn signals back and forth, left and right. I guess we'll go ahead and do a quick start on it. So, it's a good running machine. Also over here is the parking brake. That's released. That's applied. You can also adjust it by twisting the head of it here to tighten it up or loosen it up. To your preference or whatever holds the bus. So, another cool thing about this being an old bus and it's all mechanical is when you turn the key off, it keeps running. Look, I can pull the key out. What you have to do is use this engine stop over here. We'll come back to that. Let me show you the throttle lock real quick. I'm not even putting my foot on the pedal. You go ahead and pull the throttle lock, and you can hold it at a high idle. So anyway, turn the key off and pull the engine shut off, and that shuts it down. I'm now in the 96 TC2000, and the first thing you'll notice is the hood is a lot lower in this one, and that's because the turbo is mounted a lot lower. The dash has been completely redesigned and has a lot better defrost capabilities. We also have some vents up here in the front, along with the TC2000 emblem that actually came stock on this bus. A lot of the heater controls for up front have been moved over here, along with the shifter. The gauges on this are actually manufactured by GM, and the speedometer in this one is electronic, whereas my TC2000 is mechanical. We also have the engine stop on this one too. Different headlight switch. This bus also happens to have a telescoping and tilt wheel. The parking brake on this bus has hydraulic brakes, but you notice down here, it's just like one in your car. It doesn't have the hand brake anymore. This one also has a different throttle pedal. Let's go ahead and look under the hood. Under the hood we have a few big differences. The first being that this has a P7100 injection pump, and you can tell the difference by the injectors are arranged in a line. Engine oil dipstick, the heater control valve, and the transmission dipstick, and also the lower mounted turbo. It doesn't go straight across over to the intake manifold. This one is intercooled, so it has an intercooler right in front of the radiator. We don't have the power steering fluid or the washer fluid in here. That's outside. See, this one has the taller windshield, but we also have opening doors that open up here. Go ahead and open this up. There's where we check our power steering fluid, and there's where we put the washer fluid. This whole door here opens up. Coolant recovery tank right above the radiator, and a sight glass. This one's kind of hard to see if it's full or not. And behind this door, not much, but there's the air intake for the defrost. This 96 TC has a fuel tank mounted in the back between the frame rails rather than on the side. This is a quick view of the multifunction gauges in our 99 TC2000. This gauge setup came out in 98. Now this is a 2004 TC2000. From the outside, the big difference would be that this one has the marker lights between the headlights. My bus didn't come with those, and that's an option from the factory. If you look under this door now, there's a computer for the transmission, but everything else is basically the same. Now I'm in the 2004 TC2000, and you'll notice it has a lot different gauges and setup in the dash. First off, it has a similar low-mounted hood. Most of the heater controls are relocated all over here to the right. In fact, the only heater control that's not over here is the heater master switch. The gauges are by VDO, and it has the Contour rocker switches. Let's go under the hood now. Later in the year of 1998, the TC2000s got the introduction of the Cummins 24-valve 5.9 liter. This one is electronic and has an injection pump called a VP44, and again the injection lines are arranged in a circular pattern like the VE pump. Engine oil dipstick, transmission fluid dipstick, low mounted turbo. This one is also intercooled.